I'm not sure how relevant this video is going to be for most of you, but come on, this is a 70-year-old engine in a wonderfully diabolical mechanical contraption, and who isn't interested in that? Who? This is a 1950s two-wheeled mowing machine, and it doesn't start. So Ashley and I are replacing the coil, which is probably the problem, and while we're at it, for not much more money, we're replacing the points and the condenser too. New condenser and the plug. So that covers just about all the electrical components, and surely it will start. Surely. First major challenge you meet after removing the cover and the pull cord pulley is the flywheel. It needs to come off so you can get at the electrics. Now, previous owners of this machine have managed to snap off the cooling fins. Very naughty, but you can see why they'd be tempted. You need to grip the flywheel tightly somehow while you turn the retaining nut. This is one way of doing it, using a belt wrapped around a few times, and it does work because I've done it. But now I have an impact driver, and that works even better. Turn it anti-clockwise to unscrew it, and keep going because the nut pulls the flywheel off. So far so good. Now you can get at all the fiddly little bits inside. That whole back plate is held on with just 4 screws. Nice. Look, and this is loose. Much easier. Now you can get to the screws that hold the coil in place. Ours were very tight, so it helps if you have a handy stand to put the plate on, and that way you can push down on the screws properly. Three are loose, and that's always the way. Ooh. Done. This is our first time doing this job, so we were not sure how the coil is held into its supports. So we first disconnected it from its wire using a soldering iron. Good. It turns out that the supports are just pushed on to the coil ends, so they just pull off. Good. But make a note of where the other contact point is for the earth, so you can line up your new coil in the same way. Remember that at the moment this is sticking out here, so we'll put the new one in there as well. Yeah. Yeah. Well, it's easier than I was fearing. Yeah. The new coil we have is a looser fit for some reason, so we put some silver foil in just to keep it snug, and then it can get screwed back into place.
Be able to rotate a bit to line it up, isn't it?
Meanwhile, the points are held on with a small nut in the middle, and the adjuster screw. I'm hoping this will just pop off the top now. Carefully remove the spring.
Before it springs away.
and the little clip that holds the arm in place. Next, loosen the 2 retaining bolts from the back. This gives you access to the condenser, which just fits inside the base, hiding in there. As you explore above and below, just be careful with the delicate parts and remember which order they go back in.
That little wire.
But we just went slowly and really we didn't find any snags at all. The other side of the points just popped out.
Can you take that bit out as well, just to see what's in there?
And there's a little insulator plate, and that lifted out too. Now you will see that the wire that comes from the condenser goes up through a hole in the casing and is soldered to the wire that comes from the coil. So first you need to melt the solder to remove the old condenser, and then feed the wire through from the new condenser and solder it back into the same position. It helps if you have 3 hands for this job. Now I might have the slowest soldering iron in Ireland, although to be fair, old solder might have a much higher melting point than new solder does. I don't know. In the end I heated up the tang of an old file with a blowtorch and that did the trick.
I'm trying to look at the camera and saying it.
We included some heat shrink sheathing around the wires as an additional insulator, though that made it a bit tight and fiddly to get everything back where it's supposed to be. But now we're well into the rebuild, just putting things back where they were, basically, with the new parts.
Nice.
And a touch of grease on the bolts and the screws. The new coil gets soldered on, making sure the earth connection is sitting in the correct position.
Good. And that bit's lining up with that bit.
We used a clamp to squeeze the coil just a little. I think it's just because of the silver foil that we used. It's just a bit too big, so that the bolt holes lined up.
Tight.
Groovy. Okay.
Well, it wasn't that way.
Or was it that way?
I think it was that way.
So we checked on the video.
Yeah.
Might have it.
Bit ahead. Then the whole back plate gets screwed back on again. And we're ready for the flywheel again.
Can you just stick the screwdriver in the notch on there?
Now, the flywheel position is actually vital for the timing.
Lines up with.
Luckily, it's easy to get it right though, because
Marks.
there are 2 marks that just need lining up. Well, one's a mark on the outside of the flywheel and the other is a slot in the end of the drive shaft. You just need to keep them lined up as you tighten up the flywheel nut. If the flywheel moves far from alignment, sometime in the future the spark will happen at the wrong time and the engine won't fire, so it does need to be on pretty tightly.
How tight's tight?
More.
Yep. Remove the spark plug so you can turn the engine over easily. So you can check the points are working. The stick is pushed up by the piston so you can see when it reaches top dead center.
Starts there to there, I think. Somewhere.
That's top. We put the pull cord pulley back on at this point, even though it will need to come off again to fit the main cover. But this way we can adjust the points if necessary. And that was it really. Not too difficult, even though it was our first time. Thanks very much to Ashley. It was much easier with two of us, for sure. Oh yeah, spark.
Yeah.
Much better spark. Very nice spark. Okay. any reason why we shouldn't just put it in?
No.
Come on then. Okay, a bit of half a throttle. Put some choke.
On. That's it. Boom.
It's okay, it doesn't have any fuel yet. Just takes a little while to get through. Well.
Well, that was a good sign.
Very good thing.
Got spark in the right place.
Obviously, it must be pretty close, doesn't it? Yeah. Okay, cool. So, but it's stalled.
Yeah, but as soon as I took the choke off.
Yeah, well, it wasn't warm enough, maybe.
No.
Now I might need to clean out the carburettor soon, but the electrics are working now at least. Good for another 50 years, surely. This machine hasn't run at all for a couple of years because last year I was too ill with COVID to manage it because it's hard going over rough ground and all our ground is rough. And here's a good example of that. Rushes untouched for 2 years and growing vigorously. That didn't last long. Might be asking it to do too much there.
Got through half the.
We had to go around the side of it, maybe, or something. I'm not aiming to clear all these in one go, but knocking them down a bit, or even a lot, will make it much easier for the next time. And a few passes, a month or so apart, should eventually clear them and allow the grass to grow back again.
It's easy, isn't it?
Oh yeah. Great, it's so easy. We took it in turns because it's hard going, very hard going, but at least I'm feeling much fitter than I was last year. Still life in the old dog yet. And this is just one of our little fields. There are 6 more to go, but that's plenty for today.